I'll go ahead and show y'all how to do all this shit. I'm gonna take this shit off right here, 13, take my 18 out. Take my 18 out of here, take my 2 starter wires off first. Take my 18 that's up here, you can't see. Already disconnected my wires, it's pretty easy to disconnect. Then I got 118 right here, I got 118 right there, and then she gonna separate. So I'm gonna get my torque converter bolts. I'll show y'all where them is at after I get my my starter out. Alright, so I got my starter out. 2 wires off of it, and I unplugged this sensor right here so I didn't fuck it up. Pulled the radiator hose out and pulled this little shit off of here. And now I'm in here about to get these torque converter bolts. So I'm gonna spin my crank over here and get each of them out. Alright, so I got all my bolts out. I get this one from back here with an extension. That's the top one, and I got this other one here. When I pull these 2 out from right here, and just swing it on to the side. All transmission bolts are out. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook my engine lift up to the motor itself, and then I can just let my transmission fall the fuck out of here. So, alright, so I got my motor supported. Unhook the wire so I wouldn't break that. Put it right here on this metal bracket and bolt right here. Don't look like it's holding it that good though. So I might come on down and try something else. But really all I need is the support. So that's what I'm gonna do. Find my pry bar. If I can find it. Alright. Now I'm off. It already come apart a little bit. Alright. It's fucking ass. So I got my new transmission over here. It comes with a new computer. Probably got installed up in the car somewhere. So I'll set that to the side till I'm done. And I'm just gonna fix my motor, my chain. One of my bolts is crooked. I'm gonna jack up my motor and I'm gonna slide this thing on to there together. So there's my new torque converter. Looks good. I'm gonna line this up right here. It's about even. It's about where it needs to be right there, really. So that's about it. Let's put her ass back together. Alright, so I got all my top transmission bolts in. That's the starter bolt you see in there. I always lock them in with a breaker bar, tighten them with a breaker bar. Now I'm finna come in here, my torque converter is, and I'm gonna put some Loctite on there and put my torque converter nuts back. So I'm gonna do that next. Then I'm gonna put my starter back. Alright, so I got my torque converter bolts back in there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab my starter. Alright, I'm gonna slip her ass back in here. So I gotta use both hands really, because I gotta move this out my way here. Ah, you motherfucker. Come on. Alright. Try to do this shit one-handed, man. I don't know. Yep, got her ass up in there. So I'm gonna throw my 2 bolts in, one right here and one up here, and then I'm gonna hook my 2 wires up and then get this thing ready to go back in there. Also gotta hook up my my wires to my transmission. I'm gonna do that too, and my 2 hoses that I gotta get off of the other transmission over there. Alright, so I got my starter hook back up. Now I'm over here. I hooked my line up here. I went and got this from the other motor, put my bolt in there, put my line up here. About to get my other line right here. First I ran my wires around here because they go behind there. I'll get that, then I'm gonna get these wires and shit, and then I'm gonna be ready to go back in with a motherfucking ass. Alright, so I got everything ready. Go back in here. Took that sensor out. I'm gonna slide it out when I go back in there, which is gonna be tomorrow. And I'm gonna put that bracket back on. I took that off just so I can slide up in here. Alright, so I'm about to go back in with this thing. I'm gonna let this bitch down. Right over top of that motherfucker. So I'm coming down, put this sensor out over here, so I can clear those right up there, up into that hole above the other one. So I just cleared it. It's a good thing I pulled it out. So I'm just clear here, barely, and I'm not really clear here. So now I'm about to hook my jack up. And then I'm gonna have to maneuver it around as I come up, so I'm not really gonna record that either, man. So y'all see it when I got it in here a little bit. So I'm this close, guys. Just been guiding it all the way up. Make sure I don't hit no sensors. I'm right there near my shit. Really gotta watch this driver's side, because you gotta watch them sensors like that one right there, which I didn't hit any of them. You gotta watch this one right here too. So now I'm just gonna pull her ass back this way a little bit and jack her ass up some more. So I got my bolts tight, twisted a little bit, but that's alright. Got my bolts up in here, most of them tight. So I'm gonna let the pressure down. And unhook my lift off of here. Let her down so I put her ass back together. Alright, so I'm back in here. First thing I'm gonna do is replace that, put that sensor back in there, and I got that sensor on the other side in the motor. I'm gonna put that one back, and I'm gonna put my axles in here, put my tires on. Alright, so I got them sensors in. Now I'm just up under here. I'll put my damn axle up in here, put my axle nut on, my strut nuts. I'm about to put my fucking sensor back in here. Fucking shitty ass camera. Put my brake caliper back on. Get some wire cutters. Alright, I'll come over here to the other side. Put that fender well back first. I did get my, I don't know if I showed you already, but I got my ground on there already. So I'm gonna get my fender well back up in here with some clips and shit. Then I'm gonna get this side back together. And just throw her ass together just like so. Slide her ass through there. Push her ass up in there and get a bolt up in there. Alright, so I got all this back together. Everything tight. I'm about to go back on my wheels over here. And the same over here. Got everything tight. My pin back in. My shit plugged up. Right there. And everything is good. So I'm gonna go down here and get my exhaust next, and whatever else I got underneath, and I'm gonna go get the top. Alright, so I'm under here. I got my motor mount back on, tightened up. I got my exhaust back on. Got my sensor sitting right here. I gotta come back and plug that up. So I got my bolts up on there. So I'm about to go back up top and start hooking shit up there. Probably throw my radiator in there next. Alright, so I just put my AC lines on there, and now I'm about to slide my radiator back up in here. Alright, so I went in there real easy. So I'm gonna hook up my AC lines while I'm right here. Then I'm gonna slide her over and drop her up in them holes right down there. Alright, so I got my radiator back in here. Now I'm about to go back with my bracket, my thing right here, and I got to put this on. Put the horn on it right here before I go on in. And then a couple other things I gotta make sure I hook up. So I'm going back on with that now. So I got my shit back on. My radiator in, I plugged up my fan, I plugged up my little AC sensor down there, got my hood linkage hooked up. So now I'm just gonna go in here. I'm gonna replace this little transmission module right here. Then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start hooking up my linkage and my wires and shit. Alright, so I'm just coming on through. I got my linkage hooked up. I got my oxygen sensor wire back here. Threw it back there so I can plug it up when I get down there. Got my new computer in. Got my heater core hoses on, my vacuum line. About to get my fuel line on. Alright. Pop it back in its slots there. Alright, so I'm gonna get my radiator hoses on. I'm gonna go back down there and get that one on. Get everything else. Get my top one on that goes right here. And my reservoir on. Alright, so I got everything done down here. Also got my bottom transmission bolts in. Got my shit plugged up. Got my drain plug back in. Everything looks good. So I'm moving back up to the top now. Alright, so I'm back up top. Got my ground wire on right here. Got my other vacuum line on right here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab my other shit that goes right here. Go ahead and get this installed real quick. That thing just sits right up in there. And this thing, it's gonna sit right there. Hook my hose up. Alright, so I'm over here. I went ahead and I put my box in with my 3 screws in right there. And I put this thing in with the, I gotta get my 10s in there, and I put this thing on. Alright, so I went ahead and plugged up these 3 plugs to go right into there. Pop my little thing in. Came over here and plugged in this plug. This plug. This goes to the mass airflow sensor. And I plugged in this little plug that goes right here. What was that? My bottle of water. Alright. So now I got 2 more plugs that go in here. I'll hunt them down real quick and find them. Alright. We got these two. Just plug them right up into here. Alright. So now it's gonna be time to get my battery in here. I'm gonna go ahead and get my air box in there real quick. Go ahead and grab this, put this on too. So I'm gonna put that on too. Alright, so I got one part of my air box in there. Got my mass airflow sensor plugged up. Got that hooked up. Hook this up. Then I'm gonna tighten them up. Bitch. I had to use both hands probably. Alright, so this thing's done. I just got to put me some antifreeze up in here. Then I gotta go down here. You can barely see it, but that's it, that little black thing. And that's my cap for my transmission. I'm gonna fill that on up with some transmission fluid, CVT. Air box, everything is hooked up, everything good. So I got her ass running. I just checked the fluid. I put 4 quarts in it. I gotta wait for it to heat up. It's overfilled right now, but hopefully once it heats up, flip it through the gears a couple times, it'll be at the right level, and I might need to add some, or I might need to let some out. So I am gonna shut it off in a second, let it drain down, check my antifreeze again, hook my computer up so I can see my transmission temperature.